Hey, Sonim here. In this video, I'm going to explain why everyone starts losing at high budgets. This is a really key point you need to know before scaling any ads on Meta. If you have zero clue on who I am, I'm on a mission to help you stop throwing money to Zuck and make your ads profitable by building strategies and funnels to help you get to multiple 6 and 7 figures. So let's get right into this. So, game theory and ad spend. Why everyone loses at high budgets. So basically, let's just break down things into a few simple steps. What meta basically works is like an auction, which means your costs aren't determined by what you bid alone, they're determined by what everyone else is bidding against you. So here's what happens when you increase your budget. Meta's algorithm automatically expands your reach into new audience segments, and those segments are way more competitive than the current segment that you are fighting against. This means the moment you scale your ad spend, you're automatically thrown into a competition with much bigger spenders. No, this is not something that it's under control that you can choose, but it's basically what this it's basically what the system did itself. The system is built this way. You are literally just this guy against other people. So this is where game theory enters the picture, especially something called the prisoner's dilemma. Imagine your competitor scales the budget, and now you're forced to scale yours too, or you lose market share entirely, as you will have no other choice. Okay, if you don't know what prisoner's dilemma is, let's just quickly go over it. So we have basically two prisoners with two different choices. Prisoner A has a choice to stay silent or confess and betray their partner, and the prisoner B has the same choices, is either to stay silent and confess and betray their partner. Okay, let's say the prisoner A decides to stay silent, and hence he both stay silent and they both serve 1 month in jail. Let's say the prisoner A confesses and betrays. So while the prisoner A goes free, the prisoner B serves a full year in jail. Okay, let's just move on to the prisoner B choices. Let's say the prisoner B stays silent, right? They both stay silent, and they both serve 1 month in jail, which is neutral, right? And let's say the prisoner B chooses to confess and betray, where prisoner A will go to jail for a full year, where the prisoner B goes free. And if they both confess and betray, they both serve like a year, 3 months, some time in the prison. So that's the prisoner's dilemma, where one choice matters everything for the other person. So so here's the trap. When both of you scale at the same time, you both end up with higher costs and lower ROASes. Both of you lose, which is a lose-lose situation for both of you guys. This creates what's called a Nash equilibrium, a point where everyone is unprofitable, but no one can stop overspending because they lose even more if they did. And you're just stuck in this cycle of constantly spending and not seeing higher ROASes. Nash equilibrium is basically the same thing, but let's say I hit on blondes, right? So, sorry. Let's say I hit on blondes and a friend hits on blondes as well. We might get zero dates for the night. Let's say I hit on a brunette and my friend hits on blondes, which would become I could get a date for the night and so on a friend. Okay, so the next part is I hit on the blonde, my friend hits on brunette. We could both get a date for the night. So let's say I hit on a brunette and my friend hits on a brunette. We may or may not get a date for the end of the night. So basically we will be running into three budget zones where the first budget zone, budget, sorry, the budget zone is the safe zone, which is basically $100 to $1,000 per day. Right, this is the point where like the competition is much more manageable here, and you can actually breathe and you can just calm down, relax, and do your thing. The moment you decide to go from safe zone to the next zone, which is the competition zone, which is from $1,000 to $5,000 per day, this is kind of where the pressure starts, and you'll start noticing your ROAS is beginning to drop. Let me just highlight this. It's beginning to drop. This is the point where like you guys actually start fearing that you guys cannot like start scaling up to your ROASes and everything else. And then finally, we move to the dead zone, which is anything above like 5,000 per day is like just dead zone. Because at this level, you are bidding against VC-backed brands or brands that are worth multi-million dollar brands who literally do not care about. Wait, just give me a second. Let me just edit this up. Who literally don't. You're you're bidding against backed brands or brands who are worth multi-million dollars, who literally do not care about profit yet. Yet they will care about the profits because, well, they're spending money on getting the eyeballs, but at this point, they don't care about profitability just yet. In this point, you are just completely outgunned, and you cannot really have any way to like compete with them. So you have probably experienced the ROAS cliff, the moment when your returns suddenly drop off a cliff where you hit like a certain spend threshold. This is actually explained by something called the winner's curse. The highest bidder in the auction almost overpays for the thing. Okay, let's take for an example, you just went to an auction for like a yacht. Okay, like the best thing I could think of is a yacht. So let's say someone bids, let's say, let's just take it, let's just say $10,000 for a yacht. The yacht actual price maybe $40,000. Let's say you really want the yacht, so you go 20,000. Then the person goes 30,000. Then you go 40,000. Right? We're already at the level where it's similar to it's the same of the yacht's price, but then the person goes, let's 45 grand, right? And the next, since you really want the yacht, you go 50 grand. And then finally you win the bid, hence gaining the yacht, which would have costed you 40,000, which eventually costed you 50,000 in the end while you're bidding. So, and that's most probably you. These spend thresholds aren't random. They trigger new competitive tiers. This is basically your ROAS just looking down, almost going to fall off because you're moving into new competitive tiers, which is exactly as the system is designed. But this is not a bug in the meta system because they want it to work in this way because eventually they want you to get to spend more on their platforms, giving Zuck more money. Here's the part Meta doesn't want you to realize. Meta profits the most at when advertisers are trapped in this unprofitable equilibrium. You're spending the maximum amount possible while staying just profitable enough to not quit entirely. TLDR, when you're throwing Zuck your money equals Zuck equals happy. This guy equals happy. I need to. This guy equals happy. The platform makes more money when you're stuck in this cycle than when you're actually winning. So basically, when you're stuck in this loop where you are trying to scale and you just can't seem to scale, so you spend more and more and more to gain eyeballs, to gain to add more data and everything else. Like you are eventually giving Zuck your money, and which makes Zuck very happy. But you would basically just be, well, you would basically just be sad, right? You would basically just be sad because you are wasting all this money and you are just maybe getting like break even ROAS or something. So how do you escape this matrix? How do you escape this trap? Okay, so there are just really three options. First, the first option would be to stay small. Like you could just stay in this simple safe zone where you're spending 100 to $10,000 a day, which is when you're trying to compete with other people, it's really hard to just be here, like, right? So that's not really a viable option for people who actually want to scale. So the second option would be to change platforms entirely. We could actually just, well, say fuck you to Meta, fuck you Zuck, and just move on to something else. We leave the Meta system ecosystem and go somewhere with less competitive pressure. Okay, maybe like we turn to Google ads, maybe TikTok ads, or YouTube ads as well, or maybe even Snapchat, Pinterest ads. Some within something within a Meta's ecosystem, something outside Meta's ecosystem. Sorry. And finally, we have the option three, which is winning the efficiency game, which means building creatives and data systems that give you an edge over the competitors at the exact same spend level. So basically, these are only the three options that you have in order to just escape this matrix that you are trapped into, where you're trying to scale, but you just can't seem to find that you can't seem to find the way to actually scale to this. You are just spending money, and where you cannot seem to get out of that constant ROAS cliff, where the moment like your returns suddenly drop off a cliff when you're hitting a certain threshold, right? So basically, what we came up with is the survival formula. The 3S ROAS baseline everyone talks about is not some arbitrary number. Arbit Arbitrary. Why is that word so hard to say? Arbitrary. Sorry. I'm just gonna say arbitrary number. It's the minimum threshold you need to survive competitive pressure. Below that, you cannot weather storms in the competition at the dead zones. Here's the key principle most people get backwards. You need to validate that 3S ROAS at small scale first before you enter those highest numbers. So let's say you're testing creative at just a safe zone where it's like spending maybe like $25 to $50 a day, and you're just playing it safe zone, and this guy gets consistent 3S ROAS now, and maybe you label it as a winner. So you try to move that ad into the competitive zone, which will have higher higher CACs, and maybe the ROAS will drop off. But if you have done things properly and set up data trackings and everything properly, you should be able to move from safe zone to competitive zone pretty easily, because you already proved your efficiency before you scale, because you noted that this ad is actually worth scaling. It could actually get like consistent 3S ROASs. So it's not the other way around. This is your shield against the entire game theory trap we just talked about. So that's it for this video. By the way, if you, for the love of God, cannot seem to crack paid ads funnel, there's a link below in the description which will take you to a Canon link where you can book a call with me for a free strategy session with me, one-on-one. Do not worry, it's not a sales call, so you can leave your card at home. It's just a call where we can tell you how we can help you with your paid ad system. I don't really mind if you click it or not, but if you really need it, it's in the description. If you like the video, there's a button for that as well. So be sure to press it if you did. Comment any video ideas or requests you have, and subscribe if you want more content that keeps you engaged at the end. Have a great day ahead. Thanks so much for sticking by. Cheers.